Greetings and welcome to another live with me. My name is Leah Salmon, the Naturally You coach, best-selling author, speaker, nutritionist, life coach, live blood analyst on a mission to help 100,000 Black women to eat for health, think for happiness and live in harmony, or what I call becoming naturally you. And again, thank you for joining me today on this live. So today I am going to be talking about how sitting all day can affect your womb health, because one of the things that I focus on is Black women's health, in particular womb health, pregnancy health, premature birth prevention, and all areas of women's health. But those are the areas that I spend a bit more time in. So I'm just going to make sure that the sound is coming through and everyone can hear me well enough. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, lovely, jubbly. So thank you everyone who's coming in. Thank you everyone who's joining me today and who has been joining me over the past few weeks of me doing this, since the Naturally You Clinic has had to close physically for a little while. We've moved online so that I'm still able to connect with you all and offer help in this virtual world. So before I continue, if you're not already on my mailing list, I would highly recommend that you head over to my website, thenaturallyyoucoach.com, and join the mailing list in the big purple link, because tomorrow I'm going to be sharing some big news about something that I am going to be relaunching, which I haven't launched it for the last couple of years. So I want everyone to greetings, thank you sis. Greetings, Micah Jules. Thank you for joining me today. So yeah, if you haven't already joined the mailing list, please do so, because you'll be the first to hear about it tomorrow. And if you are not, also, I'm having a book sale at the moment. So all of my books are discounted. The physical books and the ebooks are all discounted. So they are all 25% off. And if you're a mailing list subscriber, if you're an EasyIn subscriber, you get an extra percentage off, and you can get, and that discount code will come to you in an email, in the same email tomorrow that's going to be coming out with the big exciting news promotion. So again, today we're going to be talking about the effects on your womb health of sitting all day. Now, most people have already heard the quote that sitting is the new smoking, basically because sitting for long periods of time and smoking have been found to have a similar number of health impacts. And when I'm talking about womb health, I'm talking about whether you have light, pain-free, short periods, or whether you have heavy, painful, long periods, whether you have challenges like endometriosis, fibroids, cysts, PCOS, infertility, those types of things. All of those things are your womb health. All of those things are things that that affect your womb health, or that comprise your womb health. Greetings! Does the price of your ebooks convert to US dollars? Does it convert to? That is a brilliant question, darling. So what happens is when you, I'm pretty sure what happens is when you order the book, and then, because I take payments through PayPal. When you go to the PayPal screen, then it will tell you how many dollars. If your PayPal is set to dollars, it will tell you how many dollars that order is. And then at that point, you can decide whether you want to go ahead with the purchase or not. Or you can look at the prices on my site and then go to Google and put in dollars to pounds conversion, and then it will tell you exactly what the price is. So thank you for asking that question, sis. So there are a lot of things that affect our womb health, and there's lots of ways that we can tell whether our womb health is optimal or not. And for years, sitting down too much. Oh, you are very welcome, sis. Thank you for thank you for asking the question. So for many years, technology has made it very appealing to be very sedentary. So we literally work in front of screens sometimes. And when I'm talking about technology, I'm mainly talking about screens when it comes to sitting down. So we work in front of a screen, we learn in front of screens oftentimes, we entertain ourselves in front of screens as well. And as far as sitting down is concerned, we do a lot of our travel to and from work, to and from school, to run errands. We do a lot of travel sitting down as well, depending on whether you're driving, on how far you're things are around you. So we spend a lot of time sitting, and sometimes we will shift from one screen to another. We'll be on our screen while we're traveling, possibly sitting down, and then we'll be sitting down in front of another screen at work, and then we'll possibly come home and sit down in front of another screen to watch TV. So technology has made sitting down even more appealing than it was maybe a few years ago. And this has been a situation that's been for a while, because more and more screens have crept in, more and more technology has crept in to, as modern conveniences, to take the physical workload off our bodies, and resulted in us being able to sit down to do a lot of things in our lives. Now, during this particular period of lockdown, the COVID-19 lockdown and social distancing and people working from home and home isolation, educating their children, things can possibly get worse. And if you already have challenges with womb health, if you already have womb health challenges, menstrual health challenges, things like heavy, long, painful periods, if you have endo, if you have fibroids, you have cysts, you have PCOS, you feel challenged with infertility, if you have any of those womb health challenges, then sitting down for long periods of time during this particular period could make those period challenges, those womb health challenges, even worse. Now, and so one of the things you can do to protect your health is to avoid sitting down for long, extended periods of time. And again, most people have already heard the statistic that, or heard the saying that sitting is the new smoking. And that's because, again, sitting down for long periods of time has been found to have a similar number of negative health impacts as smoking on a regular basis does. So as far as your womb health is concerned, the main things that sitting down is gonna do that are negative to your womb health is reduce the circulation in that area and weaken muscle tone. So what muscle tone and strength in your pelvic area, in and around your womb area. And even though they seem like, just two things, how can that be just as bad as smoking? But as far as your womb health is concerned, having a lack of circulation from sitting down all day, or sitting down for long periods of time, and then losing muscle tone, both of those two things have got huge impacts on the health and the vitality of your womb. So as far as circulation is concerned and muscle health is concerned, those are two things that if you don't use them, if you don't stimulate them, it's one of those use it or lose it situations as far as muscle tone is concerned. So most of us are aware that if we have muscles that are inactive for a long period of time, if we're not using them on a regular basis, they're going to get weaker, they're going to get flaccid. And because, most people feel like, if I'm not trying to get a six-pack, if I'm not trying to get flat abs, I don't really need to worry about my abdomen. I don't really need to worry about the muscles around my back and around my, my abdomen. And even some people who are slim, and they don't have, they don't have like a really large midsection, and they think, I already like the shape and size of my body. Some people who are in that position feel that they don't need to work on their the strength of their abdominal muscles, because aesthetically they look the way they want to look. They're happy with their figure. And whilst I'm 100% here to support people with their body confidence, it's still important to make sure that your muscles are strong as well, because there are misconceptions that just, people who are slim are healthy, literally, just because, and then people who are bigger are the only ones who have health challenges. But there are people who are slim who have diabetes. There are people who are slim who have a lot of challenges that other people have. Greetings, Fran. Thank you for joining me today. So just because you feel like your abdominal muscles look okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are strong or strong enough, because if you are sitting down on a regular basis and you're sitting down for long periods of time, that can still weaken them because you're not using them regularly. So it can be a bit of something that people can sometimes get complacent with, that they don't have to exercise or they don't need to worry about their health. In the same way, right now, there are apparently a swathe of younger people right now who are saying that they don't need to be concerned about catching COVID-19 because they're younger and younger people don't catch it so much. So they're going around doing these silly challenges, and it's not turning out the way that they had panned out, because and I mentioned this on another video as well, as much as we all have different constitutions, which is our general level of health and our general level of strength and vitality, as much as we all have differing levels of it, and some of us are, we're just going to be thin for our whole lives, or we're just going to be overweight for our whole lives, or bigger for our whole lives. We have tendencies towards those things. It doesn't mean that you can't push your body too far and push it to the point where you never get a cold. Oh, I never get a cold. Oh, I never get sick. Oh, I never get a sore throat. So let me just go and YOLO and just do what I want, eat what I want, drink what I want, smoke what I want, blah, 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 blah. Because your body will at some point reject the behavior that you're giving to it, because your body wasn't designed. Our body was not designed for the world that we're living in right now. It just was not designed to take in the toxins we're taking in, sitting down as much as we're sitting down, having as little, having the lack of sunlight that we're experiencing now, especially Black people. Our body just wasn't designed for it. So we do need to respect the fact that we need to put in effort to keep our body healthy. Otherwise, as strong as you feel your body is, and as robust as you feel your body is, and able to withstand so many things, if you're not putting in work to continue to strengthen your body and continue to look after your body can at some point be like, you know what, enough's enough, and I'm packing up for a little while I do some internal healing work, and while you just chill out and stop with all the bad behavior, or the inconsiderate behavior to your body. So again, the two things that the two impacts of sitting down for long periods of time that will affect your womb health the most is the lack of circulation and the stagnation of the blood flow. So good circulation is essential for womb health. There are so many conditions, especially conditions that are painful, that have been specifically linked to a lack of circulation, a lack of good circulation. And good circulation is your body basically being able to pump the blood around your body in an efficient way. So can create that stagnation, which promotes the kind of pooling of blood and pooling of fluids in different areas, which is why even when you're sitting for too long on a plane, or when patients are in hospital and they are bedridden for some period of time and they have to lie down for long periods of time, I used to work as a nurse, an A-grade nurse or a healthcare assistant, and we had to make sure we were turning patients so that they weren't sitting down for periods of time that were too long, or they weren't lying on one side of their body for too long either, because it can create that. And obviously, we're not talking necessarily about something that extreme, but it is something that we would do to help the patient's circulation. And some people will find themselves sitting down straight for 8 hours and barely moving, maybe getting up once or twice just to go to the toilet or get some food, and for 5 minutes or so, and they are sitting down for the whole period of time. But they're young and they're fit and they're feeling like this is not going to have any impact on them. And sometimes the symptoms that you will get, not everyone is going to link having heavy, longer, painful periods with the fact that their job is exceptionally sedentary and they drive to work and they sit down all day, and then they sit down to drive back home, and then they sit down to entertain themselves, and they can't seem to find the time to do much walking or to exercise much or to focus on their body and their self-care. Not everyone is going to make the link between those two things, but there is definitely a link there. And a lot of natural health professionals have specifically linked, not just the anecdotal evidence that's come through, but a lot of natural health experts agree that many painful womb conditions are as a result of blood stagnation and that movement of blood not being there. The other consideration is, so if you put in a search or do any research in the health challenges or the dangers of sitting down for long periods of time, there's like 7 different things, everything from it being associated with things like anxiety and depression, to it being linked to certain types of cancer, as well as it affecting your circulation, it being linked to heart disease. So all of those things are obvious considerations of sitting down for long periods of time as well. But again, what we're focusing on this video, in this video, is how sitting down for long periods of time, especially during this period where it can be, you can kind of fall into an unhealthy pattern, how these things can affect your womb health. So there's the lack of movement because we're sitting down and this pelvic area is just in one place. So there's the lack of circulation of blood moving freely through that area of your body, and that causing problems. And and then there is also and obviously those things are relieved by movement. So and again, if you haven't made the link between sitting down for long periods of time and the womb health challenges that you already have, then you may not know what to do about it, or you may not even think, okay, maybe it's because I'm sitting down for long periods of time that it's causing these womb health challenges. So at the end of the video, in a moment, we're going to be speaking about how you can alleviate these things, and just having an awareness, being conscious that it's possible that there's a link there in your life can be enough. Because obviously, what would you do? You would make sure you were moving more regularly, and you would avoid sitting down for long periods of time. But it's just having that awareness and understanding the link between our womb health challenges and the implications or the results of sitting down for long periods of time. So the other thing that can happen is because most people who are sitting down, not everyone has an ergonomic chair, not everyone sits on a stool, not everyone knows that much about posture. A lot of people, when they are sitting down, they will fall into an unhealthy posture where they're arched and they're slumped, which has negative impacts on their back muscles, as well as them sitting in a way that puts too much pressure, undue pressure on their hips as well. Now, some women who have womb health challenges, they already get excess pain in their back. They already get backache. They already get stomach pains. They already get pain in their hips and in their neck and in their shoulders throughout their cycle. Now, for other reasons, sometimes that's for other reasons, but sometimes it's because of the fact that they are sitting down for long periods of time, and that is weakening and having a negative impact on the muscles in their neck and their shoulders and their back and in their hips. And then that's so sometimes it's sometimes it's the fact that their cycle is causing these pains, and then sitting down for long periods of time is making it worse. Or it's that sitting down for long periods of time have weakened these muscles, which then make them feel more painful during the sensitive time that some women have with their muscles, which is during their period. So it can be in either way, but in either case, it's not going to help to sit down for long periods of time on the strength of your hip muscles, your whole pelvic area, your abdominal muscles, your back muscles, your neck muscles, and your shoulder muscles. The other consideration, and then so I remember when our children were younger and we had the midwife come around after the babies were born, and they would give us the talk and the information. Do you know how to use the car seat? You know, how's breastfeeding going? All those kind of things. And I always remember them mentioning that in a young developing child, it's not healthy for a young baby to sit down for more than 2 hours because it can have a negative impact on baby's hips. So they were saying, like, if you're going on long car journeys, or if you want to put your baby in the car seat and let them, sit in, because we used to comfort the babies in the car seat. They would sit in the car seat in and around the house. We could carry them around and stuff like that. And the midwives, health visitors would always, I remember they would always make a point of saying that it's not healthy for them to be in the car seat in that kind of sitting reclined position for more than 2 hours at a time. And obviously, they're young growing babies and their bodies are developing and growing and strengthening at a high rate. But that doesn't mean to say that it's not going to have an impact on us as we're growing up. And it's been found that is actually the case, that it does have a negative impact on the strength of your hips when you are sitting down for long periods of time. And I know occupational health therapists and physiotherapists and exercise therapists who will recommend and advise to their clients on a regular basis, even not just even to do with womb health, but just regularly, that it's not healthy to sit down for long periods of time. And if they are sitting down, they should be making a point of getting up as much as every 45 minutes to move around, to stretch and do all these things, just to avoid the health implications that come with sitting down for long periods of time. The other consideration is that sitting down for long periods of time has also been linked to your body not being able to regulate insulin as well, which can then lead to things like diabetes. And then obviously not moving around and being more sedentary can also lead to weight gain. And both of those things, diabetes, insulin resistance, weight gain, all of those three things have been found to make womb health challenges even worse, especially if you have long, heavy, painful periods. Things like fibroids, they've all been linked to and had connections with insulin resistance and weight gain and insulin resistance and blood sugar level challenges. So again, there are so many health implications to sitting down for long periods of time, but again, we're just going to more focus on the ones that are linked to womb health challenges. Now, and again, obviously the solution to all of this is to make sure that we're moving around more often and just being conscious of the fact that, you know, being sedentary can have so many impacts throughout all of our health, especially our womb health. And I think people more link sitting down for long periods of time and the impact that it will have on their weight and it will have on the stiffness of their joints and back pain and things like that. But again, not everyone makes the link with, could this be contributing to the womb health challenges that I'm having as well? Now, as far as human history is concerned, because a lot of people will say and think, and it's fully understandable that people are like, well, in this day and age, we have to, you know, sitting down is something that's kind of just part of the course. We have to work in front of a computer, commuting involves sitting down, all of these types of things. But even though these things have become part of our everyday life, it doesn't necessarily mean that our body agreed to any of this. It doesn't mean that our body's like, okay, well, if you need to do this, we're just going to adapt and we're just going to change everything around to accommodate what you've decided we're going to be doing now, which is sitting down for long periods of time. Because literally, we have not had screens in front of us and this much technology around us in the course of human history up until maybe the last 30 years, as far as screens are concerned. Everyone having a laptop, everyone having a computer, everyone having tablets and phones and things that they can sit down in front of. That hasn't been part of our history until the last maybe 30 years, as far as the more technological advances are concerned. TVs, yeah, maybe we've had TVs for 60, 70 years. But then again, not every single household had a TV. Now you can go into people's houses and there's a screen in every single room. There's a TV in all the rooms and a tablet and a phone in every single room. There are so many opportunities to sit down and engage in technology and engage in screens, and it's all coming in and becoming part of our human experience in quite an unconscious way that we don't necessarily realize that there's health implications to allowing this influx of technology into our life without considering how it could be affecting our health and how we could monitor and adjust our use and our exposure to these things so that it doesn't have a negative impact on our health. So in the same way that food, 100 years ago, we didn't have half of the foods that we have on supermarket shelves now, but our digestive enzymes and our stomach and our digestive system in general has been functioning in a particular way for thousands of years, which is to assimilate and break down and get the nutrients from and eliminate the waste from whole natural foods that were grown in and around our environment and that weren't subjected to pesticides and herbicides and GMO and all these kind of things. And our body has been used to digesting those types of foods and utilizing those types of food for thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, literally in the last 120 years, there's been a complete revolution in the type of foods that we're eating. And our body wasn't given a memo. Our body wasn't asked, are you going to be okay with this chemical compound of foods that we're going to be putting into you? Are you still going to be able to thrive now that we've completely changed the diet? Something like 180 to 100 years ago, nearly 80% of people had their home was on a plot of land where they grew food. so many houses had farms on them, or at least they were growing some of the food, and that made up a portion of the food that they were eating. Most of the food, again, came from the local environment. It wasn't like, oh, you have to go to a farmer's market in order to make sure you found food that's only come from a 100-mile radius. It was just all food came from a 100-mile radius, almost all of it. Hardly anything was really shipped in. So we were all locavores. We all had an organic diet. It wasn't a thing to have an organic diet. It was the standard to have an organic diet. And that was the norm for everyone. And then things changed completely, and people now are only now putting the pieces of the puzzle together and realizing that this complete change in our diet is contributing to the fact that the state of our health has declined just as rapidly as the technology has increased. And the food technologists and the changes in the food change and the availability of the food that we're eating, all of that has changed. All of that has, we've seen all these advances, but we've also seen a steady decline in our health, and us experiencing levels of health that our ancestors never experienced. And in the same way, the amount of sitting that we're doing, the amount of the sedentary lifestyle that we live now is again something that our ancestors never experienced. And it's also, our ancestors never experienced a lot of the health challenges that have been associated with sitting down for long periods of time as well. So one of my sayings is that modern technology coupled with ancient wisdom can create vibrant health. So I'm on a Facebook Live right now, so on a mobile phone in front of a ring light. So I'm obviously not, damning all technology. And technology is amazing. It's allowing me to connect with people all over the world that I can share this information with, so that people can improve their lives by eating for health and thinking for happiness and living in harmony. I love technology. It's the core of my business. It helps me with home educating my children, living my life. I love technology, but I also appreciate the fact that we need to, as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be most beneficial to our health to adopt as many of the principles of our ancestors as possible and adapt them to the modern environment that we're living in, so we can marry modern technology with ancient wisdom and then experience vibrant health in this day and time. Because some of our ancestors were known to be out in the sunshine and exercising in forms of walking and carrying and lifting for up to 9 to 12 hours a day. Whereas some of us don't get 9 to 12 minutes of sunshine, and some of us don't get 9 to 12 minutes of exercise either, much less walking for miles on unsteady and unstable terrains where we're having to climb up a little bit, go down a little bit, pick this, carry this heavy thing, walk this place, walk that place. Like, our washing machine broke down the other day for like 4 days, and we were hand washing clothes. We have 8 people in this house, hand washing clothes and then hanging it up outside. Just wringing the water out of the clothes was like, this is a workout. Oh my God. And I'm like, I never do this, because I just pick the washing up and put it in the washing machine. When it comes out the washing machine, I put it in the dryer, and that's it. When it gets warmer, I would put it out on the line. But even when I'm putting it out on the line, it's not like heavy and dripping with water, because my washing machine's already spun it. And it just clearly, it's something that illustrated to me. And every time my washing machine breaks down, I get more and more, over the years, when the washing machine has broken down, I get more and more appreciative and grateful for what it is that machine is doing. It's just sitting there in the corner doing all this hard work. But it does make me realize that our ancestors didn't all have washing machines, and that's just one of the chores, much less not everyone had a Hoover. People would have to sweep constantly, walking around, sweeping, dusting, cleaning the floors. There were so many more physical things we did. Again, transport, going and getting foods, the way that we preparing food. I have a Vitamix. I have a food, actually I don't have a food processor because my food processor broke, but I have a Vitamix which pummels things for me, so I don't have to stand there and pummel things myself. There are so many things in modern technology that have made our lives brilliant, but it has also relieved the burden of us physically moving as much as we used to. And again, there is also a correlation between that lack of movement and our health declining. So some of the tips, and this may sound obvious, but again, now I just wanted to help create that link in your mind of how some of your womb health challenges could be created by a sedentary lifestyle, and part of that sedentary lifestyle is how much we sit down on a daily basis, or how much some of us could be sitting down on a daily basis unaware of the link. So obviously some of the things you want to do are to plan to exercise more, but at least 30 minutes for every 8 hours you're going to be sitting down. So if you know you're going to be sitting down for 8 hours, planning in 30 minutes of moderate exercise, whether that's walking up and down, whether that's doing a jog, if you've got a little trampette in the house, doing a little jump on that, yoga, Pilates, whatever it is that you want to do, but just adding that level of movement to your life. Things like yoga are brilliant for circulation. They really open up the pelvis and stretch all of those areas of your body. Massage is very useful as well. And there's some brilliant sisters who are into and focus on womb health. Uduak is one of them. A sister called Uduak, Uduak, uduak.co.uk. You can find out about the work that she does there. She's a doula, but she also does womb massages and vaginal steaming herb kits and all those types of things. There's a sister called Leah, Leah the goddess, or Leah Haru, and she has a whole program called I Love My Womb, and she does online yoga sessions now during this time. So and you can see little videos on her Instagram and Facebook of her doing challenges, yoga challenges, and all those types of things to help. And all of those things are helping to increase the circulation and the movement and the vitality of your womb. Also, if you're not able to reduce the amount of time you spend in front of the screen, then you may be able to stand while you are using the screen. So obviously, if you're watching something, you don't have to sit down the whole time you're watching something. If you know you've already been sitting down for a long period of time, you can choose to stand up and, do some of your watching standing up. If you're on the phone, again, some people sit down and recline on the phone. Sometimes if you're conscious of this, you can walk around while you're on the phone. I always aim to walk around or at least be standing up when I'm on the phone as much as I possibly can. It's a conscious link that I've made so that I don't end up sitting down too much if I am on a longer phone call. And then even I remember there were times when my husband because my husband's a graphic and web designer, so he is in front of a computer a lot, but there were times when he would even get his laptop and put it up onto something like some kind of ledge in our house, so that he could work standing up for some periods of time as well to strengthen his back. And then obviously there are some people who are not able to move around as much, people who are wheelchair users, or who just have reduced mobility, but they still want to, they still appreciate that this is a consideration. So there are actually a lot of seated exercises that you can do. People even say that literally holding your stomach in and tensing your stomach, consciously making the effort to tense your stomach while you're sitting down and sitting up with a posture that's as straight as possible. Both of those things, making a conscious effort to do both of those things on a regular basis, that alone can help to strengthen your core and your midsection, as well. It's obviously not going to increase the circulation in that area, but it can help to improve the muscle tone in those areas as well. And then there are other actual seated exercises, things you can do in a seated position, that can help to not only strengthen the muscles, but to also increase the circulation of blood in that area as well. And all of this probably is ringing some bells because most people, again, become aware or have heard at some point that the more you exercise or exercise on a regular basis can improve your womb health, it can increase fertility, it can reduce symptoms of fibroids, it can help with managing the symptoms of endometriosis, it can help to reduce heavy, painful and long periods. And again, so people do recognize that there is that link. But again, just sometimes in situations like this, which is not a situation most of us are used to being in before, the most we're used to is like having the weekend off or having some holiday time. This is an extended period of time working from home. And again, some people already work from home. So this is actually not particularly new to them. But again, falling into a habit of sitting down for long periods of time is so easily done in this day and time. So just being mindful that if you do have womb health challenges, that to protect your womb and to avoid those challenges from getting worse, avoiding sitting down for long periods of time, adding more exercise to your life, using things like abdominal massage, womb massage, yoga. All of those things can help to improve the health of your womb and reduce any of the challenges that could come with that. So again, if you haven't already joined my mailing list, please do head over to thenaturallyyoucoach.com and join my mailing list there. There's going to be big exciting news that's going to be released tomorrow on the mailing list, and then I'm going to be back doing another live on Friday at 1 p.m. where I'm going to be talking about the big exciting news that I'm going to be sharing in the e-zine tomorrow, in the newsletter tomorrow. Again, I have a sale on with all my books at a 25% discount, including my book 30 Days to Better Periods and Womb Health, where you can learn a lot more about how you can naturally improve your periods and your womb health in 30 days based on my experiences from recovering from a womb health condition and working with lots of clients, lots of ladies, to help to naturally improve their womb health. Again, anything from heavy, long, painful periods to fibroids and symptoms of endometriosis and all of those types of things I've helped women to work on, and a lot of that information is in the book. So you can get 25% off the books, the ebooks or the physical printed books at thenaturallyyoucoach.com/shop. Again, I'm going to be back on Friday. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you are here live or watching the replay. I appreciate your time. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I will see you soon. Take care and stay healthy.